Hello, lovely ladies. Hope you're all having a beautiful, wonderful new year. And I really wish 2021 is much, much better than 2020. But 2020 wasn't so bad after all. It made a lot of us realize how important certain things that we took so easily, that we just took for granted, how important certain things are. Just like taking a flight to go visit your family, even going outdoors, going to the park, going to a grocery store, all that we took for granted, we've now realized how important and vital it is, right? It's been the same for me as well. And this has also made me think that we are taking investments and we are taking money for granted. For example, a lot of people lost jobs in 2020, and I'm not even sure how many of these people had actually made a second plan, a plan B for their monthly income. That is the problem. Now the world economy is so unstable that we don't know when we will lose our jobs. We don't know what will happen to who, when, where, how, whatever. We don't know. A lot of things are really very unstable, and I think that is the reason why we must think about making smart investments. Not just make investments randomly, but think about making smart investments and investments that will give us good returns. And that is what I'm going to talk about in this episode. So let's get started. As soon as we think about investments, the first thing that comes to our mind is buying a house. I think as a person who has grown up in an Indian middle class family, that was one thing that was really put into my head, literally directly or indirectly, by my parents. I think many of you would be in the same situation. If you grew up in an Indian middle class household, we always want to buy a house and we always dream about owning a house. I think in 2020, or I think in the new generation, this concept has really changed a lot. Yes, an own house is definitely beneficial, but at the cost of what? Sometimes we think, okay, I can the EMI and the rent will be the same, so I can save up the rent and I can pay the EMI, then I can own the house. Okay, all these calculations are valid, but the world is changing. It is not like how our parents were. They were probably in the same city all life, but that is not the case for us, right? Even if you are in the same city, for example, a huge and very city with really hectic traffic like Bangalore, if you are staying in one place and you have purchased a house in one location, and tomorrow you get an opportunity with double the package in another location like 30-40 kilometers away from your present home location, then what would you do? So this property that you buy shouldn't be a hindrance to your opportunities. If you have a wonderful package and a very challenging job in another city, then this house shouldn't stop you from going and exploring your new career opportunities. I think this is one thing that we have to really consider before buying a house. Another option is buying the house and letting it out on rent. So the rent that we get generally on the flats these days, especially in the Indian real estate market, since it's exploded so much, the cost of the flat is around 80 lakhs. So you're paying an EMI about, let's say, 60-70,000, and then the rent that we get is hardly 20,000, 25,000. I'm saying this is the highest, okay? If it's a very expensive flat, then the maintenance cost, the monthly maintenance cost itself is like 3,000, 4,000. Then the amount that you get in the hand is hardly 20,000. So if you're gonna pay like 60,000 on EMI and just get 20,000 as returns as a rental income, then what kind of return on investment is this? That is one thing that we really need to consider. So an investment should be something that is giving us money, and we should not be putting more and more money into it every month, right? So I think here we have to come out of these old cliched concepts of investments and try to think about new avenues and new opportunities. Of course, yes, you can buy one house, you can have it as an asset, as a property that you can use in many years, in like 20 years, you can just hold it there. But then investing more and more on these kind of stuff, that might be a bit tricky. So here we have to really think about smart investment methods. Another investment that we do is on gold jewelry. And about 2 years back, I was really shocked and amazed to find out that when you put the gold jewelry in a bank, and in case there is a theft or in case someone breaks open your locker, there is zero insurance that you can claim on this jewelry. right? Because the bank says we don't know what you're keeping in your locker, it's not our business, so no insurance, right? I try to find out if there is some kind of insurance. I try to see if I can pledge the money at the bank, pledge the jewelry at the bank, and I tried many methods, right? None of it really worked out, because even pledging the jewelry, it's like every time you have to go and do the repayment, and they hold it only for 1 year, a lot of time related complications. So expecting that I should go every time, I should go there and do these kind of activities was also not possible for me living out of India. So it was kind of a bit very strange for me that we don't have insurance on jewelry. But I think in Germany, where I live, we have this option. So my banker told me that if you get the jewels, we can give you the insurance, we can evaluate those jewels and we can give you the insurance. But unfortunately this is not the case in India. So if you're holding a lot of jewelry in India in your bank locker, then please think about it. There is no insurance, so think what will be your plan B, or how best to keep it safely. So what has happened is, like, in this new generation, we are still stuck up with these old concepts of investing, buying a house, buying jewelry. We are still stuck up with the old concepts of investing, and we are not thinking about the new money making ideas. One is, for example, corporate bonds, which gives you a rate of return, like the interest rate is around 12%, 10%, 12%. On FDs we get only 5%, 6%, and that is steadily decreasing. I don't know what will happen once we have the 2021 budget. I don't know if it will further decrease, but the interest rates are really steadily decreasing. Another wonderful opportunity that we can use is investing into the stock market. So if you are living out of India, you are allowed to invest in the Indian market also as an NRI, and you can also invest in the country where you live, or in other countries where you are allowed to invest. For being into the stock market, you don't need to be a finance expert, you don't need to be an auditor, you don't need to be an MBA. You need to put your time and effort in understanding how the market is functioning, rather than believing on a share broker, or rather than believing on some news or just random information. If you are able to spend half an hour every day to understand the trends in the market, to understand which company is going to announce its results in the coming days, or things like that, you will start getting a hang of it. So the stock market mostly works by the gut feeling of the people, and it does not work based on formula. So nobody can give you a success formula and say, okay, this share on this date it will become so high. It will not happen like that. It doesn't work like that. It is more about the political situation, more about the feeling of the people. So what I would suggest is, even if you're able to invest just a small amount, let's say 10,000 rupees, you're able to say, okay, I don't care even if this 10,000 is completely gone, I don't care. Then just start with that amount into the stock market and try to buy and sell, try to hold some stocks, try to do a quick trading on some stocks, and try to play around with that. So slowly you will start building the confidence, and then you will see, okay, I'm getting a decent return, let me put in some more money. So it really is person to person specific. Lot of good information on YouTube. You don't need to do a course or anything. Lot of good information on YouTube, and lot of broking apps are available, and you can compare whichever brokerage and everything would fit for your needs. Then probably this is one point that you can start, and this is definitely a smart way to make some extra money. If you still think that I will have to invest in gold jewelry because in 20 years during my kids' marriage I have to give gold, so I want to invest in gold, then probably gold bonds are a good idea. You can buy paper gold, and today if you buy 1 gram on paper, then after 20 years you can just give that paper and get 1 gram in the form of gold. So if you're worried about gold inflations, then probably this is one thing that you can look at. Last but not least, my advice or my suggestion to you guys would be, please think about making money. Please think about investing in a smart way. Most of the time what we do is we are so stuck with our full-time jobs that we think, okay, 9 to 5, 9 to 8 these days we work so long, I'm going to be busy with work, and then come home, cook, make things for my family, and that's it. That's how my life would be. But I think we have to break this cliched circle somehow. There is a famous saying, I think it is by Warren Buffett, I'm not sure, which says that your secondary income should be able to meet your primary needs. needs. So it means that if you need 10,000 to run the family, then this shouldn't be coming out of your primary income. That is, it shouldn't be coming out of your 9 to 5 desk job, but it should be coming out of a secondary income. So how to make the secondary income is something that varies from person to person. You might be good at making cakes, you might be good at cooking something, then probably start a business out of it. If you really have a passion and if you really have something that is so close to your heart, then you will be able to find 15-20 minutes each day for it, definitely. No second thoughts about it. There are women who make cakes and breads, and trust me, these women who have actually home bakers, they have completely revolutionized this baking industry itself. So these days nobody goes to bakeries because they know the quality is not as top notch as these home bakers. They put in so much effort to make customized cakes that it's really become a very beautiful business that women have taken up in their hands, and they have completely made it a revolution. So why not think of some kind of alternative resources like that, and why not think of what best you can do and try to generate an alternative income out of it. One thing that this pandemic has made us realize is nothing is permanent. Things are very unstable. Anyone might lose their job at any point of time. So no point in putting all your eggs into one basket. Try to think how to diversify your investments. Try to think how to diversify your money making ideas, and try to see what are the different alternative segments from which you can make money. And I think it is very important for us to have a good stable income so that you are not dependent on one particular resource alone to meet the needs of your family. I hope these inputs were helpful to you, and I hope you will be able to utilize some of these into 2021 to make your investment and money making journey much more successful. Wish you moms all the best for this beautiful new year. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and keep listening and supporting the Speaker Mama. It's the voice of an Indian mother.